Spend the next 20 minutes feeding your brain with Formosa Fauna so you can learn all about the animal kingdom and become smarter than all of your friends. Formosan black bears are the largest land animals in Taiwan. They're very recognizable for the white V shape on their chest, amongst fur that is all otherwise black in color. Formosan black bears are the only native bears in Taiwan. It's believed that Formosan black bears were once widespread across Taiwan. However, now they're mostly confined to the mountain ranges. Today, we are honored to be joined by Nia, who works for the Taiwan Black Bear Conservation Association and Administration. Nia, what exactly is your job?
I work as an administration in my office.
What does that mean?
My daily tasks include replying email address to us, managing our website and fan page, and manage meetings between us and other companies.
How long have you been doing this job?
It's almost a year.
Most people will imagine conservation work is about being in the field with animals. What's a typical day actually like for you at the Black Bear Conservation Association? And I'd love to hear about the parts of your job that might surprise people as well.
Because of my position, although I go to some business trip into forest sometimes, maybe once a month, but mostly I spend my time in office from 9 to 5. And my typical day is to do a lot of paperwork in office and sometimes go to teach students to know more about Taiwan black bear. But there are some surprising parts maybe people will want to know is that we try many ways to teach people about Taiwan black bear through a lot of things like host activity. For example, this year I was doing a big project. It's trying to publish comic books about Taiwan black bear.
Ooh.
So this is a very interesting job.
Give a Dog a Bone Week starts next week, officially running from August 3rd to August 9th. What on earth even is Give a Dog a Bone Week, though? This is what National Today has to say about the strange commemorative week. It's an initiative started by Pets of the Homeless, an NGO that works for the welfare of stray animals. The organization has been around since 2008, having distributed more than 1.5 million pounds of pet supplies since then. The concept of the initiative stemmed from the NGO's founder's personal experience. After Genevieve, her name is Genevieve, had moved to New York City, she once noticed a homeless man with a mixed breed dog. The incident struck a chord with her, and she said she wondered why a homeless person adopted a pet when he didn't have a roof over his head to begin with. She came back, did some research, and discovered that according to the National Coalition for the Homeless, nearly 5 to 10% of homeless people in the United States had a dog or cat. The rate was as high as 25% in some states. Genevieve figured that while people like her have the luxury of providing for their pets, the homeless aren't as privileged to give their pets top-notch care. The realization made her want to do something, thus Feeding Pets of the Homeless was born. Genevieve's NGO not only provides food for homeless pets, it also helps pay for emergency veterinary care, pet crates, and wellness clinics for animal shelters. So, Give a Dog a Bone Week actually isn't all that literal, and it's not just restricted to dogs either. Cats and other exotic pets may also participate. It's an opportunity mainly to volunteer and give to the animals who aren't as privileged and fortunate, such as those living on the streets or in shelters. This could come in the form of actually physically participating and volunteering at these organizations or for these organizations. It could also come in the form of donating. Of course, other than money, you could also donate extra supplies. It doesn't matter where you are at in the world, shelters are always in need of extra food. Maybe it's a brand of food that your dog or cat doesn't really like as much as the other brand, so it's just sitting around. You could donate that. They're also in need of blankets and bedding. You might be surprised at the things that shelters need, and you might be surprised at how much of it is already sitting around cluttering up your home. So, will you be taking part in observing the Give a Dog a Bone Week? I think a lot of maybe listeners of this program, Formosa Fauna, they have a dream that they might be able to work in animal conservation. They have a passion for it, but in a lot of people's minds, they do imagine it as being with the animals throughout the day. And that might be the case for a few number of jobs within conservation organizations, but for a lot of people, it is doing, like what you said, stuff away from the bears or doing a lot of paperwork. You did mention that you do go to the forest every once in a while, though. And why is that?
Last year, our company had a cooperate with the Aboriginal group. So government support them to go to forest twice a month to take a look about the forest, because they are the people who is most familiar with the forest. So they will take a look on the forest if there is any unusual things happen. And in the forest, Taiwan blacks live in there, and there's still a lot of wild animals. So I follow them to take a look about the forest and also learn a lot of animal things from them.
Taiwan's SPCA enforces anti-cruelty laws with a focus on education. Co-founder Connie Chiang is here with us to share one of the most common misconceptions pet owners in Taiwan have and to explain what pet owners should be doing instead.
I know a lot of people are afraid of fostering an animal because, people build that emotional connection, and then it's hard to sometimes part with the animal. I know saying goodbye can be quite hard and emotional, but I think what's important to remember is that you were able to provide such a good temporary home for these animals that they were able to move on and find their forever home. And without fosters, really a lot of rescue organizations would not be able to rescue the animals. Most organizations do not have a shelter. Like, we don't have a shelter. So if we don't have volunteers, we can't rescue. I think that's even worse when we can't help animals who are in need.
Asia's largest regular gathering of animal protection organizations, the Asia for Animals Conference, AFA, is happening right here in Taiwan from August 25th to the 29th.
Register so you can get to know more about animal conservation and protection, both right here in Taiwan and across the world.
In your work monitoring Taiwanese black bear populations, what's the most fascinating behavior pattern or characteristic that you've observed? And did it change how you think about the animals?
First of all, I don't think I observed them enough, but I read a lot of their books and their articles. I think there's a very interesting about bears. It's like they can have babies in winters, and the maybe two babies from different father, because it's more
diversity, biological or like genetic diversity.
Yes, diversity.
Has that changed how you see them in any way? See them as disloyal to their partners.
I think animals always make me think more about how human it is. It's like they are so amazing in different ways, like how that behavior or how they birth their next generation. It always inspire me a lot.
Definitely. I know even just from having dogs and cats, sometimes when you're around dogs, you start to think, why do I have to be sad so much, right? I could just be like a dog and just be happy all the time. And actually having pets, it's been statistically linked to helping people with depressive behaviors, because a lot of people who get pets who are depressed, they don't want to care for themselves, but they want to care for the animals. So then they get into a routine. So
Wow.
just on the topic of, of animals, and observing them, how it helps. It really does. This week in Taiwan's animal-related news. This year, Taiwan's Forestry and Nature Conservation Agency has orchestrated an extensive roundup of green iguanas, tallying a staggering 108,000 by late July, with projections pointing toward a full-year goal of 120,000, according to Taiwan News. But according to wildlife experts and conservation advocates, this massive operation may still fall short. Green iguanas are an invasive species wreaking havoc on local ecosystems because they devour vegetation and fruits, prey on bird eggs and juvenile reptiles, and burrow into the soil, creating erosion and undermining structures like sidewalks and seawalls. There's also a growing concern about geographic spread. Currently concentrated in central and southern regions of Taiwan, with sporadic sightings in Hualien and Miaoli, conservationists are warning that without expanded control, these reptiles could soon encroach on Hsinchu and Taipei. This has been an issue for many years. I know first reported widely back in 2016, and similar culling or hunting bounty efforts have been underway since then, yet the problem is not solved completely yet. One contractor in Tainan, Huang Mingzu, reveals the scale of the effort. He and his team said they can capture up to 18 iguanas per hour, yet he questions whether private firms are up to the task. He said they may be holding back, eyeing future deals. Meanwhile, Forestry Agency official Cheng Yijuan stresses that culling efforts remain within strictly defined local regions. Only trained contractors operating in their assigned areas can take part. Director Huang Wenshan of the National Museum of Natural Science sums it up pretty bluntly, saying, "This cull is a tactical fix, not a long-term solution." He says we need to weigh the cost, consider how many people can be trained, and ultimately, Hsinchu and Taipei are next in line unless action scales up. Is there anything specific, like a moment or an experience, that drew you to join this field? And how did you first get involved?
I was majored in literature, and my school was in Hualien. And Hualien City, I think it's the place very close to nature. It has mountains and it has sea, and so close you can go both in an hour. So from then on, I start to fall in love with the nature. I go hiking sometimes from then. And when I go hiking, I just found out that there are so many things in the mountains. Before I start hiking, I thought there's nothing in the mountains. And when I was hiking, I heard someone told me that, hey, do you know that in Taiwan there is 70% of the land is mountains. So we only live in the 30% of our land. Mm-hmm. So from then on, I try to start learning things in the mountains because of I think, okay, I don't know Taiwan at all because I don't know the 70% part. When I start to looking for the job, I just opening a website about job website, and then it comes out. And I indeed key some keywords like nature, forest, and something, and animals. So it comes out these things, and I just get a chance to take this position.
This week in Taiwan's animal-related news, the Taipei Zoo recently welcomed a handsome male Malayan tiger named Ara, arriving from the Singapore Zoo as a part of a global conservation initiative focused on one of the world's most endangered big cat subspecies. Born on December 27th, 2020, Ara weighs around 138.6 kilograms and showed remarkable calm throughout his journey. According to zookeepers, he stepped into his travel crate in under a minute and has remained gentle and unaggressive toward staff since arriving. Before meeting his new companion, a female Malayan tiger named Shima, he'll go through a standard 1-month quarantine to help ensure a smooth introduction. The arrival of Ara is another significant step in Taipei Zoo's international involvement. The goal is to pair him with Shima as a part of a broader strategy to boost genetic diversity and strengthen the global population of Malayan tigers, which are critically endangered in the wild. This isn't the first time the zoos have collaborated, though. Back in February, Taipei Zoo sent a female tiger named Sarakin to Singapore for a similar breeding arrangement, and in exchange, they're expecting to receive another male tiger in the future. To celebrate International Tiger Day on July 29th, Taipei Zoo is also hosting a series of pop-up educational sessions near the Malayan tiger habitat, where visitors can learn more about tiger conservation specifically and why it's so urgent to take action now. What is one of your most memorable moments on the job?
I follow Aboriginal go to mountains sometimes, and one time I follow a elder in the forest, which is saying wisdom in his group, and then he gave me a name called Mulas by Bunong's language.
Oh, gave you a name?
Yes, he gave me a name. It's a very common name in Bunong's, and because of some bears, before they are released because of rescue, they also be given a name from Aboriginal elder. So Mulas is also a name of a little black bear who is being rescued and then be released. So I'm happy to have a name same as a black bear.
You're connected.
Yes,
I'm
I'm connected.
Names. How is it overall working for your boss, the Formosan black bears?
You mean how does it feel?
Like overall. Do you love your job? Do you hate your job? How do you feel about it?
I will say I think it's quite similar as any jobs, because I spend a lot of time applying messages, applying emails, and try to proposal with a company. So I'm kind of like, I think it's similar with any job. But also I feel like I'm not working for a boss trying to make him more rich. I'm trying to work for an animal. I feel like for me, it's more meaningful.
Do you feel like it's rewarding?
Yes, I think it's rewarding.
That's amazing.
I think the most challenging thing is always from people. So when you do this job, you will meet a lot of people, and a lot of people they doesn't care too much about animals, or they just feel too busy at their life, so they don't have sometimes to listen to you, to know more about our black bear. So sometimes you feel lonely to try to do this thing. And I think even your friends doesn't care that much as you.
Really?
Of course, because everyone has their issue in their lives, right? And black bears just feel so far from your life.
Yeah, you don't see them every day, of course not. So it is kind of hard to remind people that it's important to preserve the species. Oh gosh. For the people who want to work in animal conservation, our last question, what suggestions would you give to them?
I think even you are not major in something related to animal, you can still find a position in this kind of association, because there are we need a lot of people in different skills, such as accounting. We have accounting in our association, and we have someone who to host the activity in our association. So I think a lot of skills are help. It can helpful in many ways.
Thank you, Nia.
Thank you very much.
Do you have any thoughts regarding today's topic that you would like to share? Send an email to tristan@rti.org.tw. That is tristan@rti.org.tw. See you next time for Formosa Fauna Fridays here on Radio Taiwan International.